Let's cross back down to Canberra now. I want to catch up with Phil Coorey, who's the Australian Financial Review's political editor. Great to catch up with you again, Phil. Look, I wanted to talk to you about this campaign, right? Because you and I have been around a while and we've seen campaigns change over the years. It's the easiest thing in the world, right, to say it's a lacklustre campaign. Both of them are sort of no big ideas from either side, all the rest of it. But I wanted to get your thoughts on whether the actual way that campaigns are running has changed or whether they're actually outdated, like taking plane loads of journos around the country to try and get pictures to hit the evening news, when so much of what happens now actually plays out on social media and the like. Give us your thoughts on how the campaign has evolved, if you like.
Yeah, no worries, Chris. Look, it certainly feels like we're in a bit of a transition, doesn't it, between the old and the new, and it even sort of harks back to some criticism of Peter Dutton today because he didn't do the National Press Club. Is that really something you need to do anymore? Look, I think still both are necessary. The thing I've noticed most this campaign that's really stood out is the ever-increasing reliance on social media, the targeting of people, the use of memes, the use of TikTok, the messaging on TikTok. I think it's actually dumbed down a lot of stuff now. I mean,
absolutely.
We used to talk about MPs having to talk in grabs for the TV news. Now it's even more inane than that, and they have no choice but to sort of join the fray. So I think one element you've still got sort of more sort of reason, sort of sensible long-term sort of analysis, and then you're boiling it down to a rabbit in sunglasses dancing. And as someone said, if you don't understand it, it's not aimed at you. So I'm not sure what's going on. It's as varied as it's ever been, for sure, Chris. And but I still think they got to get around physically. The leaders still need to get around. If you don't go somewhere, you get told off for not going somewhere. And if they're going to be somewhere, there might as well be someone tagging along to ask them questions.
The one thing I give Anthony Albanese credit for in this campaign is facing up for four debates throughout the campaign, even into the last week of the campaign. That's good for democracy. I don't know why he took that risk, but it would be good if that became commonplace in our federal campaigns.
Oh God, don't start that. Yeah, well, as you know, I think 3 is the most I can ever remember, and they usually get them done pretty early in the campaign. You get them done in the first couple of weeks because, typically it's all downside risk for the incumbent because it's a lot easier for an opposition leader just to throw rocks, and they don't have a track record to defend and promise the world. But I think actually, I think on balance, Chris, you may disagree, but I think Albanese's done better than Dutton in net terms out of the 4 debates. I thought he came out of that 7-1 on Sunday night in better shape than Dutton, I thought. But, they've all been pretty close, but it's certainly not without risk. I agree, as journalists, we shouldn't be discouraging them from doing this because we're all for transparency and accountability. So, long should it continue, but I'm not sure whether it will. There's a few nervous people.
Yeah, I thought Dutton had the better. I thought Dutton had the better of him in all the debates, but so you should as opposition leader, and he never delivered any sort of a knockout blow. So I think Albanese didn't lose anything really from the debate. So just to wrap up, then when you look at it this way, then do you sit there in Canberra covering most of the campaign? Do you not feel the need to jump on those caravans with either the opposition leader or the Prime Minister? Is there too much happening now that you actually have to try and keep across it all?
Yeah, look, we do both at the AFR. Like personally, I don't travel that much anymore. I've done that. Young person's job. I'm no longer keen to get on the COVID Express, as they call these buses now, and getting up at 5 in the morning and doing 4 cities in a day, and it's pretty. It's difficult for someone from my position. I'm sort of reasonably senior, and my job's to sort of try and sort of wrap it all up and push it forward at the end of the day, and that's nigh on impossible. And the value of travelling, I guess, is diminished, Chris, because there's now separate aeroplanes. I guess when I used to do it, the leader would be on the plane with you, and at least you get a bit of time with them. They'd come down the back. That doesn't happen anymore. All right. But having said that, we send fairly senior people on the road. A lot of my colleagues are out there. They're all serious people, and I think you owe it to your readers or your listeners or wherever you effort to try and do both. Because you got to cover it from all angles, and my colleagues have done a pretty good job on the road. Their job is basically to tell a story I can't tell from here, and I think between us it all works pretty well. Yeah, it's all changing rapidly, like everything else when it comes to media, and the politicians, I think, finding it hard to keep up. Here we are indeed. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Phil. I appreciate it. Phil Coorey there, who's the political editor of the Australian Financial Review.